It's Collide Live, everybody, and we're back on this Wednesday, and there's some news going on in the world of streaming that big news that they're taking The Office away from Netflix.
Yep.
And so people are losing their minds.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be for their own NBC Universal streaming service. It's going to launch in 2020, at least The Office is. We don't know exactly when it's going to end.
Right.
But Roxy and I were talking off air.
2021.
Probably 2020 will be the last year you can get The Office on Netflix.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll ask the TV people here that the creator of the American Office is doing a show with Steve Carell on Netflix. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like The Answer, which is a comedy. So that's kind of like the answer of what Netflix is then going to do. Yes,
Reese Witherspoon. It's takes place in a behind the scenes of a news, like a late night, not like a news. It's a news program.
Right.
Show.
So it's basically it's like, don't worry about it. You know, you can go and enjoy the old Office episodes, but we've got a brand new show with.
I know that they made this announcement about Friends a while ago, and then they took it back, and then they said they were doing it. But I am curious.
I'm wrong.
It's Space Force.
It's called Space Force. It's like. The Steve Carell show. Sorry. So Space Force is basically like about the Donald Trump thing being like this people that have been tasked with creating
the sixth branch of the U.S. military.
Right. I was going to say, I don't, but
the Reese Witherspoon is the news program thing.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
Okay, so she's not in this one.
No.
But it's the creator of the American Office that is going to be reteaming with Steve Carell, and it'll be on Netflix, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That will be on
Kind of their
Netflix.
answers.
I'm kind of curious, though, because... So NBC throwing in their flag for the NBC Universal streaming service. What are they gonna take?
Friends. Friends will ultimately go
that's
there.
what I was just talking about. Because Friends supposedly was going to be stopping their.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Finish. Well, if you think about it, NBC sure aired Friends, but it's owned by Warner Brothers. So
right. So that's
actually, I'll take that back. We don't know how those rights will work out yet.
Exactly what I was getting at. I'm just curious what their shows are going to be because you would think if NBC Universal is doing a streaming app and they had both The Office and Friends, they would have made that statement.
That's true.
That we're taking this.
Yeah, but the thing is though, like, I love The Office. I don't know. I'm signing up $10 a month or whatever it is to watch The Office reruns, where I can just buy the Blu-rays if I needed to, or something else, whatever it might be. It's that's probably again very similar to what we were just talking about with Disney. That's their hook to get people in. Oh, you can watch all because The Office is very popular on Netflix. One of the most popular things that they have.
It's like The Office and Friends is what everybody watches.
Yeah,
right. It's crazy.
It's just easy.
That's the thing.
Easy to watch.
That's not why they sign up. It's just when they sign up for all the other stuff, whether it's the Stranger Things or whatever. The big programs that they have, and then they look over and they go, oh, let's watch some Friends. Let's watch.
Yeah, because to be honest, I would pay up to $8 to watch an only Friends streaming service if I could access it wherever I was because I'm that big of a diehard.
You're a mega fan, yeah.
I'm a diehard.
Right.
I'm in the tiniest minority of people who would do that, so you have to have another hook.
You gotta have new material.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I've been kind of saying all along too, is that these streaming wars are going to create cable television again. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because they're going to have to package.
They're going to have to package. They're going to have to bundle. You're going to have to get other stuff in there, and then basically you're going to well, why don't I just go back to cable?
Which apps do you want? Which things?
And then your cable package, because I still have cable because I need sports, and I like to flip through channels. I cannot just like click on a streaming service, click through what's this. I like my cable. Right. I like looking at it. I like flipping through channels.
But you're old school though too now.
I'm a little old school.
I do not have cable, although I do have my brother's Xfinity for sports. Literally, it's the only thing that I go there to watch is that because everything else I can find online.
Sure. Yeah, Roku to me is life. I love Roku, and I think that we still have DirecTV, but that's for the kids and for my wife and all this. But it's really unnecessary, to be honest with you. Like I could have everything that I get. I can get through all the apps that I need.
I still watch a lot of network television. I still watch a lot of. I watch a ton of sports.
But all the stuff you can get on streaming services.
Exactly, but I now have
Not till
access
the next day.
I have access.
That matters to some people.
I have access to everything via my cable package.
Right.
So I can watch all the sports. I have my HBO, my Showtime, my Cinemax. I have all those apps accessed via my cable.
I have that on my Amazon.
On your Amazon?
My HBO is on my Amazon.
What I have too.
Yeah, like all of that is there.
Yeah.
I
got rid of the HBO Go, and it's the same thing. It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Eventually, you're going to have an Amazon channel on your cable. You're going to have. I'm telling you, that it's going to eventually get back because you're going to be able to start streaming things in a different way very, very soon. When this technology starts hitting, they're going to start pricing different things out so that your packages are all going to make sense.
Well, it's also because you're not wrong, because people are eventually, because there's so many out there that people are going to go, why am I subscribed to this? So here to me right now, as the landscape stands today, Netflix is the champion. Netflix is there's
that's your hierarchy.
That's he's sitting on the throne.
Yep.
More than your HBO.
HBO is a cable channel.
It's still a cable channel.
But
even though
I'm
it's
saying
streaming.
that you're paying for, because is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about streaming?
I think streaming services in general, because HBO you get HBO Go.
I consider that almost just my streaming service.
Yeah, I'm with
All right,
Roxy
we
because
can
I
put HBO in
bought
there.
HBO. I pay for the app
Me
on
too.
HBO.
It's an
That's
app
fair.
for me.
That's
Yeah.
fair. I would put HBO. I think that's fair because it's the same thing. You're getting it through Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So
You have to pay extra for HBO through Amazon, or is it just through your Prime you get HBO?
no, you have to pay a little extra for
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am having to buy it like
so
a
that's why
service.
that's why I agree. I think Roxy's right. I think so. But I still think that Netflix is still because of all they have so many programs,
original
so much
movies
stuff,
now,
TV
series,
shows,
everything,
So
and then all the stuff we
Netflix
can
on
watch.
Could you
Throne, I put-
live with just Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
I don't think I could. I don't think there's enough stuff on Netflix for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say streaming service number one is Netflix. HBO is probably second in command. I'd put Amazon at 3. Would you?
Yeah.
Because of what?
I mean, there are a lot of original programming.
Yeah, but
stuff.
what do you watch on Amazon?
You should watch HBO.
Here's the thing.
Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
Movies.
There's only like a couple
Do you?
Amazon original series that are like really worth your time on
Fleabag.
Amazon.
Fleabag.
But you can get Fleabag via the BBC if you have the BBC app or if you have cable.
So do you put Hulu above
I
Amazon?
100%
Yeah, I think,
put Hulu
I think you're
above
right.
Amazon.
I think you're right.
But I mean, to me, Handmaid's Tale, I would
Yeah, you're
would
right.
pay just for that alone.
You're right. So
And
I
I do pay for just that alone.
And there's
pretty
other,
much.
and basically what we just said before, even though it's a
Watching
day
TV.
after, you can watch TV. So I think you're right. I think it's Hulu then Amazon.
Like I could get rid of Hulu right now, totally, and
You'd be okay.
be fine.
Yeah. Well, you also
Because
have
you have
cable.
cable.
Still.
Because I have cable.
Right. And then after that, then you start to get like, the stragglers, whether it's CBS or DC or even the WWE network, right?
So to me, DC is 100% because of how great Doom Patrol was. It's as good as any of these other flagship
you
shows
are.
that
Personal.
we
This is
talked about.
personal preference.
Right.
001% plus you host a DC show.
You know, she's saying
100%,
personal preference.
100%, but just for me, when
I
we're-
would say
we're saying our own
success-wise,
rankings.
but I would no. I'm not really
And then
talking
Nickelodeon
about.
has one as well.
Nickelodeon does have one also, and I would say
And then there's an
I
anime
actually
one
would
too, I
say
think.
WWE is up there.
Sugar
pretty-
Crackle or something like that.
If you think about
WWE.
WWE for what it does.
How much is it?
It's $9.99 a month.
Crunchyroll, that's the animated one.
Crunchyroll, yeah.
But $9.99 a month, and it's you remember you're obviously you're not getting that, but it's very popular, keeps them in business. So, but I think that the King is going to be challenged come November. When is it November or October? It's November, right?
In November. Yeah.
When Disney Plus comes out, because Disney Plus is going to be $6.99, as where Netflix is what $14 now or some shit.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
I pay, I think, $12.99
$12.
now.
Something it's something crazy. So the question is, do we think that Disney will automatically take the number 2 spot, or do we think right away that it'll take the number 1 spot?
Okay.
And then there's Apple TV coming, and
Right.
Warner Brothers also with theirs.
Here's the thing.
But they
that-
don't come until next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that Netflix has and will have over a lot of those. Now, I don't know because we haven't seen them, but the amount of Netflix stuff that they have purchased from international and or other shows
Right.
and calling them Netflix originals.
Bodyguard, right?
Bodyguard, all that kind of stuff, is that Netflix has the library.
Yeah.
It is the library, and that's why I said, and people are like, because I guarantee people are like, Makuga can just live with Netflix. Listen.
You're talking about the library for not
Everything.
original content. You're talking about the backlog.
They have the biggest library. I mean, I think
But
across
are they
the
going to start
board.
losing it though? Because now all these other streaming services. That's the whole thing.
And
well,
not just because of the shows that they had, but the shows that they
Yeah.
were making that
But
they
now
were
it-
buying from properties.
Correct. And now there's going to be these bidding wars for all these. Now it's going to be like Disney Plus original, but it's some show that aired on the CBC in Canada, right?
Or Fox show.
Totally.
Because now they have all the Fox shows. But like
Yeah.
Disney will also say, hey, look, all the movies that we've ever done, you're never going to see them on Netflix. They're all going to be on Disney Plus or Hulu. Because now they own Hulu also.
The Disney's probably going to get, and the only thing that I really watch, as far as Fox shows go, are either The Simpsons or Family Guy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And Fox really
So what's that
hasn't.
going to be on Hulu now?
I think that'll probably go to Hulu,
Yeah.
right? And I don't, which think it already is there, but
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to look at
they're
the
Kind of a
shares.
random question, but in this, why can I go? So I also, you guys know, I watch all Shonda shows. I love Shonda shows.
Right.
I literally watch them by going to abc.com, and as long as you're up to date, you're fine because they only have the most recent
what's that?
4
That's
all the
Shonda-
time.
that's
so
Grey's
that's Grey's
Anatomy.
Anatomy.
Yeah,
It
okay.
was How to Get Away with Murder
Right.
and Scandal, but Scandal not being there anymore, but still How to Get Away with Murder, Grey's
Right.
Anatomy. I go to abc.com and I can watch them. Why can I do that?
Why can you do
Yeah.
that? I don't know. I don't know the answer
I
to
think
that.
you're able to watch like a couple of the first broadcast shows, and then
You
they
can watch
take
the
them
whole
away.
series?
No, but you can't. You can only watch the most recent 4, but I'm always up to date. So I just
Just watching it off the.
I go to abc.com. Same thing with CW. I do
Yeah.
it with Riverdale. I can do it with any of my CW shows.
It's crazy. I mean, again, maybe because it's not.
CWTV.com.
Well, it's also because it's free television, right?
Totally.
So why not just put it on the internet? It's not cable.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just interesting that you can just
It's
have a
always
computer
supposed to be
now.
free.
You don't need to have a television. You can have a
But
computer
it's
and you
smart.
can watch all these
It's
things.
smart because again, if you buy a television, you can just hook it up with an antenna, you'll get it. So you're
And
not.
there's still commercials.
Yeah.
Here's
so-
the other thing that's going to start. I mean, depending on where laws go and everything with net neutrality is, if you don't have the internet fast enough to stream a lot of this stuff, you're going to have to up your
Yeah.
internet, and then you're like, well, maybe I should just go back to cable.
That's what I'm
But I
wondering.
can't go back to cable because it doesn't offer the things I need.
Yes.
I understand that. So you're going to have to do both.
Both,
Yeah.
possibly.
Right? And
Yeah.
That's where they're going to toast it.
I just think that there's going to have to be because what is the average person willing to spend on television?
Right.
I'm talking about all the streaming and cable, everything combined. What is it? Is it 50? Is it 70? Is it 100? Is it 150? Like, what is the average person willing to spend
I think
on
with
their
all the
viewing?
apps and the cable and everything that I have, I'm spending somewhere around like 165
a month.
But
like
what
150.
totally,
155.
I feel you. But average person, I'm saying, what
I
is
would
the
say
average person
$80 to $100 is what people. I think the average person spends on
is
cable
willing
and
to
streaming.
spend?
Yeah, I mean, willing is a very different
Yeah.
word.
I mean,
Well, that's why I was so
ultimately
shocked.
will be willing because they'll
Right.
have to bundle. Because I think if you want to be able to see everything like I do, I'm also spending a crazy amount of money right now.
Didn't they already say that with Disney that they're going to be bundling because they have the ESPN and everything too? Because
And
they
Hulu.
Right. So when they announced, nobody knew how much Disney Plus was going to be. Everyone thought it was going to be anywhere between like $12 to like $20, right? Because of all the shit they were giving you. And then they said $6.99. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
that.
I
$6.99
know.
was great. There's no chance
For-
it stays at
for
$6.99.
a month.
Maybe, yeah, like anywhere between
Maybe
a month
that's
and
an
3.
introductory
Yeah.
rate.
Well, they're gonna let you get their new show like Loki and Mandalorian. They're gonna get you hooked on it, and then they're gonna go, okay, here's that crack. If you want to keep smoking it, then you got to make sure that you come back when it's
6 months
$10.99.
at $6.99, then it goes to 10.
$10.99, and people will be fine with it because you're going to give them the quality. Anyway, point is that I think at like 15 or 16, you get ESPN, you get Hulu or whatever the hell else they got going on too. So they have a lot to offer at
At
this
what
time.
point do you get FX? Or
Right.
is that not how it
Yeah.
works?
I don't know how it works. Yeah, but I think that's
That's Fox,
just questions.
right?
Yeah,
Do you
it's
know?
just
it's
questions.
Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys know anybody that uses YouTube TV?
Yes.
People
I
who
was
watch-
just about to say,
Yeah.
YouTube TV and PlayStation Vue are both roughly the same price. You get most of the channels that you get on cable service, and they have a DVR. So if you do like $40 on that and just do a handful of apps, you're only spending like 60 or 70 bucks.
That's exactly what I do. I switched to PlayStation Vue, and I'm never looking back because Spectrum was awful. I couldn't deal with it. It was high priced, and I got out of it.
I thought YouTube TV was $49. Because then I'm not only spending that. If you're spending then an average of $8 on 6 other apps,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Then it's not $60.
Right.
But then again, I'm trying to watch everything.
It's again why I really like if I was just on my own, I would just have Roku and that's all I would need.
Yeah.
Because I could just get the apps that I needed. You
That's
know?
what I have.
Yeah, and it's the easiest way to do it. But anyway, so we all do. So let's go back to that question now. I think Netflix holds the throne for a while. I think
Yeah.
even with the addition of Mandalorian and all these things, I think Disney takes the 2 spot and has to figure out their way. It's really about how their original programming hits and can they create shows from new IPs because they have
Right.
all the
Disney?
Yeah, Disney's got Marvel and they have Star Wars and they have this and those things will pop. But what can they do with their original programming?
I think what they need to do in order to be a true competitor, Riley, you were talking to us about that original movie that Disney Plus is
Right.
doing.
Yep.
They need original TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't be. streaming service is great for TV, mediocre for movies. It's nice to be able to watch a movie there, but you need original
your people.
IP for TV
But you
to
don't
keep
think-
bringing people back.
Because
But you
that's what
don't think
Netflix did so
you
well.
don't think Loki and Mandalorian
I'm
off
saying,
the top.
yes, off the top, but I need original
You need stuff
IP
to start- right,
for their TV, not necessarily
just
their
movies.
movies, their TV. They've got to bring something to the table that isn't that stuff.
Right, because Loki's going to be with Tom Hiddleston, right? It's going to be
episodes.
6 episodes, but that's probably going to be it because Tom Hiddleston is Tom Hiddleston.
But they're also
maybe?
doing, Black Widow and
well, no, I mean,
Black
Black Widow
Widow,
movie,
Scarlet Witch,
right,
and Hawkeye, and
But I see what you're saying because what Netflix does so well is we get like the Ozarks, we get Stranger Things, and like there are like what are some other great ones? I know
Orange
they're
is
out
the
there.
New Black.
Orange is the New Black.
Back in the Day, House of Cards.
Crown. Right.
The
well, but the flip side
see
of
that dig
but
you
the flip
did.
side of that also is the fact that Netflix didn't own any other IPs as big as Marvel or Star Wars, so they don't. So
Right.
Disney has
Well, they
that.
did have
creating
Marvel's
these,
IP.
they're
But
creating
they
these
couldn't-
shows,
yeah, right? But they created, and that's what they did. They created off, and they got a lot of views off of that for sure for having those particular things. But I
And
think
now they are. Do you know that they're trying to do their own comic book series and
yes,
have their own
yes,
IP?
and that's
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
smart,
And that's them trying to compete with Disney
right?
now.
And so they're basically doing the same type of thing. But I think because of the success of like the MCU, by leading in with Hawkeye and was Falcon and
Winter
Soldier, and then having those like little limited series, then you get Cassian Andor and you get Mandalorian. By starting out with that and bringing that hardcore fan base in first, and maybe you get some new people, then start to do exactly what you're talking about now too. All right, let's because they're gonna keep playing off of they're gonna go to that well many times. They're gonna go to the MCU, they're gonna go to Star Wars if they're popping and people really want you want to see more of it because Obi-Wan. If they don't announce that series, I don't understand it. I just don't get it.
And
It's
as they should, but the problem becomes if you are not the biggest Star Wars fan, or you feel slightly behind, you can't just only have Star Wars content and
100%.
expect to
I
have
agree.
more than Star Wars fans.
right. Because that's it's just going to turn into like a geek. We'd be watching,
stream.
but it's been a geek stream.
What DC's problem is right
Right.
now.
You want to get more people involved in it too, even though this is big IPs. You're absolutely right. But that's also why you get in the families with the live action movies, Lady and the Tramp, and all these other movies that they're doing. But yeah, you couldn't be more right to where you've got to start developing new things inside of it. But the tricky side there is if it's too adult, it lands on Hulu. And if it's got to be right, and if it's too family, then maybe you lose some of the people that you want to get
I
in there.
don't know if they should have. Right now, yes, but in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I don't know if there should be a Hulu, a Disney Plus, and an ESPN at streaming.
You're never going to see a really adult version type shows like a Daredevil on Disney Plus.
Plus.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there's like a Disney Plus Unlocked. And it's like you pay a little bit more and then you unlock the rest of the stuff because I think that it's going to be challenging for people to understand
Right.
and know what to get. And also, part of this is foot traffic. So how many times have you been on Netflix and you started a series? Maybe not you, but Josh. How many times have you been on Netflix and you started a series that you had no idea you were going to watch?
Never.
That's never happened to you?
No, like
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, like something will pop up, and I'm just like,
Oh,
that's how I started
it's
watching
Bruno?
City,
What If?
Tales of the City.
So I started
But-
watching What If.
Oh, so it does happen to you, and then all of a sudden I'm all the way through
Right.
because it's just there. So like I think that Disney, it's silly for them to have people in different places.
I know the problem
if
is
you
also,
want.
but it's also what they've done very well is they know their brand, right? And they don't whether you have an unlocked thing or not. It's like if you're on there and they start putting up these kind of adult oriented things, it's a
Yeah, I
it's a
do
slippery
feel you.
slope. It's
I
a slippery
completely
slope
feel you.
because it's a very different brand for what it's always been built on since the 30s, for God's sakes. So
yeah.
Then you're gonna again. This is where the streaming war comes in. Is you're gonna get like a Disney bundle, right?
Yes.
You're gonna get these Disney bundles that it's gonna be like, okay, I got my Disney bundle. I get all this for like $22.99.
that's what they already said. They said and they announced that already.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said it's going to be that and ESPN and Hulu and all that.
Right,
Yeah.
and then Disney is gonna start purchasing all these other things. Like eventually, you would imagine that YouTube TV gets bought by one of these. Like there's no way that YouTube TV is making the money that is necessary. I mean, I know YouTube's owned by Google and all this kind of
Right.
stuff, but there's not enough people, and maybe PlayStation is different. But again,
I completely agree.
there's a F
There's
ton
no
of
way.
people like myself, like a lot of people that I know that don't have a PlayStation, that either use an Xbox, or people like my wife who do not want to go onto an app and hit YouTube TV and scroll through that. They just don't want that, right? Like we use the Roku, we definitely, but there is something about, I don't know if it's just me, but we have all the channels. I'd like scrolling through and seeing stuff that I want to. Friends is always
We
on.
didn't even put YouTube. I mean, Cobra Kai. We didn't even put YouTube on here.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Is
Yeah,
that
we talked about
premium?
YouTube
He brought it up. Yeah.
No, it's not YouTube TV. It's YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
right.
can't get
Right.
YouTube
That's why I thought they
Premium.
were lumped into the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, what does it mean?
that's the
Cobra
only
Kai, Cobra Kai's the only game in
Only
town.
game in
They don't
town.
have, they don't have, nobody gives it. You guys probably could because you're TV people, but like I couldn't tell you what else is on that.
Champagne,
Kind of how I
Illinois.
feel about Hulu.
Yeah.
It does. I know
Handmaid's
because I'm
Tale,
TV. It's Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
Is the game in town. There are other ones, and I know what they are, but that's the show
That's
that
the main
Hulu
show.
has.
But
yeah.
I want to ask your opinion on this, because if The Office is
Stinks.
going to the NBC Universal thing, is it going to be pulled off of cable? Is it going to be so we can't
Right.
be like
Yeah,
TBS?
your
I
reruns.
follow
You mean
the
No way.
syndication?
They make so much
Yeah,
money
they
in
make too much money
syndication.
off of
So then,
hackers.
if it's going to be, because that's what I get in bed and I usually watch The Office or Family Guy as I'm falling asleep. Now
On Netflix or on
no,
TV?
just on cable, right? So if these things are on this app, then why go buy an app if The Office is going to be on TBS at night?
Well, because you assume that you're going to give a lot more. That's just one of the
You have it
things.
on
It's-
demand.
it's
You
just
can get it right there.
Right there, no matter when you want it. Because
Instead of waiting to 10
or,
o'clock
or
at night.
DVRing it, it's just there for you.
That's
kind
because
of-
that's what I'm wondering, if it's going to
because your
phase out
question-
cable.
Because your question was, they still do all that stuff now, right? And it's one of
Yeah.
the most popular things that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because as you're scrolling, I mean, but like we said, you're signing up to Netflix for other things.
And you're getting commercials,
you gotta
cable.
You got to give us other things. That's the main thing.
The exact reason why I still listen to radio is why it's still cool to have TV. Because you turn it on and somebody else that's playing the music for you, and you don't have to think about it. You just go to the next station or
Right.
the next station, and it's just doing it for you.
And a lot of people still listen to radio.
Yeah,
They're-
because
they
I don't
really do.
want you guys know I still don't even have Spotify or Apple any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I get in my car, I put on the radio.
I'm addicted to Apple Music though. Right now, it's like a
But
streaming
see,
service. It's like a streaming service.
There are people that are addicted to
Spotify.
music. I've never been like an addicted to music guy. I like talk radio. I like sports talk radio. I do listen to podcasts, but I still love listening to sports talk radio in the morning. I still listen to like afternoon drives, different
Yeah.
places. Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
I love the radio.
Yeah.
Though I do think we're a dying breed.
It's
for sure.
Yeah, well, that's why. I mean, look, it's one. But I don't know if we are necessarily. It's just that.
It all comes full circle sometimes.
But by the traditional sense of it, I agree. But this is why, like originally when we started like this show, right? It was like a lot of the people who are not used to traditional radio was like, "What, are they trying to be like a radio show?" And then those same set of people, and I'm curious if a lot of people feel this way, started to kind of get it more because they weren't as familiar with it. Because a younger generation who's not listening to radio as much and is streaming and doing all those things, that they aren't introduced to it as much, and there's not that type of feel.
Because do you not feel like we are doing a radio
Yes,
show?
I feel 100%.
That we are doing. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Me too.
My point is that that's what Toad Hop was to me. Toad Hop to me, I respond better in a radio type of setting because it's just you get better conversation out of it, you get better moments out of it, and that's why, like I said, I've always been a Stern guy, and like to me it was like that's when you get the best materials out of it, and a lot of people aren't just familiar with that because it is the age of, and I think that's why podcasts kind of boom up the same way. Podcast is the new form of radio. It overtook radio, and it's one
But
of
all the radio stations release their shows as
on podcast
podcasts.
form. And it was so funny because a lot of and as much as I love Stern, he was a big advocate against podcasting for a very long time. I don't know what his stance is today on it, but it's
I think he's become more lax about it.
but because he's old school and he you know, this is before the internet. He earned a spot. And he earned, like anybody can turn on the radio now, and I mean just microphones and release spot. Doesn't matter who you are, you can do it. And to the old school guy, it's like you had to fight to get a spot inside of like the college radio stations and really earn it. So I understand where you're just like, what the fuck? Everybody can just do whatever the hell they think they can do. What I do,
Right.
But it is so it's weird that, you know, I agree what you're saying to where it's like we're a dying breed that we don't like radio, but then there are a lot of people who love podcasts, and podcasts is kind of like the form of the new radio. You know what I mean? So it's like
No, I mean literally the radio.
like the actual radio
'Cause,
itself.
Like when I'm talking about the radio, I'm talking about TV.
you're turning it on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
And here's the thing: is like When I'm tuning through, like let's just say so here's how my TV works: is I turn it on, I go straight to ESPN. If SportsCenter's on, I watch a little bit of SportsCenter, whatever. Then I go to TBS or something and see if Family Guy or Seinfeld or Friends is on. That's what I watch. Then I go straight to the pay channels and see what movies are on, and then I start like flipping around. I've always been like a serial flipper. I can't do that with streaming.
I'm so serious. I'm so curious to what your life is going to be like once you have children, because it's your job to watch all this stuff too. Like it's one of the things that I know that if I wasn't doing what I do, I wouldn't be seeing as many movies as I do.
Totally.
My wife's only accepting of the fact that I'm going out to see a screening because it's my job. That's what I have to do. But she doesn't love it. But like the fact that I got to be gone 3 nights in a row.
Do you guys think that these services will start to have a shuffle?
Oh. Like, just what can pop up?
Yeah, or like their own channel. So maybe you go to Netflix, and when you click the Netflix app, something is playing, and then it's shuffling through or whatever based on you. And then if you want to click, and if you want to click off of it, then you can click off.
It's actually a smart technological thing.
Yeah, I mean, they do that with like the trailers and stuff now for Netflix.
Yeah, but I feel like I would use it more if it was like based off of my most 50 recent things that I've watched. Now I know that it's going to be doing How I Met Your Mother and Friends and whatever. It's just going to be shuffling through. I put it on mindless in the background. I don't know. Maybe that is more similar to what people
actual
want.
television.
Yeah.
That was good talk, guys.
Yeah.
I like what we're doing over here. So if we.